This is an excerpt of the contact. It is an unauthorized and unofficial translation and may contain errors. Translated excerpt from 663rd Contact Report of the meeting on the 6th of November 2016.
But what I would like to now ask, you had quite some time ago told me that in the US the most primitive election battle ever would fortunately be decided in a way that the majority of the US population would choose the lesser evil, whereby a world war would be avoided. However, I am expected to be silent about this, because of the walls in the center having ears, so that everything would be spread into the world and thus also spread to the USA, which would not be good and could negatively influence the electoral process, assuming that certain elements would find out that Clinton would election-wise get chucked out, and Trump come into power.
It would indeed have been dangerous, if you had told anything, because a very unpleasant and dangerous turmoil would have arisen in certain inner government circles and in certain secret services, if these had learned about what I had entrusted to you. Unheard about election manipulations would have occurred, as well as life-threatening attacks against Trump, both in a secret service way as well as from the ranks of fanatical Democrats. He would not have received any help from the Republican Party, even though he is a member of it. However, when disclosing my opinion about his behavior, I must say that he is actually representing a separate party, thus his party, so to say his own one-person party. As you had rightly judged him, he is at least as an election campaigner chaotic in his election campaign motives and a catastrophic human being. But I must in that context say that he is otherwise well-meaning and not evil, also with regard to Russia and Putin, with whom he wants to in an honest fashion seek a peaceful political, military and economic agreement. This, in contrast to Clinton, who has sneaky and evil warmongering thoughts against Russia, and wants therefore to initially in Syria carry out military actions against the Russian military forces fighting there and also launch warlike attacks against Russia itself. A fact in respect of her thoughts of attacks, which she as Putin and Russia enemy has already cherished for a long time and wants to realize too. And if she won the presidential election, an atomic war would be inevitable. Fortunately, this will not happen, as I had already told you on the 30th of June. Of course, the world will be shocked next Wednesday, when Trump wins the election, because his way of talking was and is not the most cultivated one, but he has good approaches in various directions that he intends to realize as US President, as long as he will not be interfered by his advisors and those who want to direct him power obsessively according to their scheme, and will definitely in certain things succeed, as was the case with all US presidents, and will continue to be so. But should he succeed, he will fight against the globalization and against the US's until now interfering too much in foreign states and thereby neglecting the order in their own country, but rather rebuild it, the order. But time will tell to what extent he will be able to push through his basic ideas, for next to him all the power-obsessed ones are around him, who do not let him act according to free will, but will try to direct him according to their own discretion, as it was the case with Obama, who lacked the necessary for asserting himself. And because Trump is no actual politician, but a man of business, he will as president in this respect have a difficult position in his own governmental domain. This will also be the case with regard to foreign affairs, whereby the machinations of the EU dictatorship will also be decisive for it, because after him taking up the presidency, latter will strive to restore the close relations and connections with the White House and with the US government that were lost for it by his election. And, as I know, the EU dictatorship will try to pull the USA on its side and, with it, form a political, economic and military power coalition, whereby already very early on a coalition will be attempted, and that as soon as the first shock will have passed, which hits the dictatorship, that does not expect Donald Trump, but Hillary Clinton to win the election, who has an engaging and favorable stand towards the EU dictatorship.
We will now see what will happen, and I do not doubt that your prediction from June was correct, and the catastrophic human being that is the lesser evil will win the US presidency, thus Trump.
Reply omitted from the transcript, nonverbal.
Another question about Donald Trump. You had said that this man would be well-intended, not evil, and in some matters completely disinformed. What is meant by this?
He is not stupid and not the evil human being that he will be accused of being by his adversaries, who will agitate against him and will also try to create uproar, because them altogether not knowing which insidious thoughts and plans the opponent Hillary Clinton is actually nurturing, through which she would trigger a worldwide catastrophe if she came to power. As far as the election campaign speeches of Trump are concerned, they are, in the first instance, just that, campaign speeches, which should not in their entirety be regarded as effective, because the whole radically appearing, crying out, as you have often referred to such speeches, is only partly or not at all to be taken seriously, because these are usually after taking up office relativized. Moreover, Trump is in certain matters which he stands for misinformed, such as for example regarding the climate change, as well as Obamacare and others, for which however there is hope that he will relating to this think better of it.
Ah, that's what is meant with your remark.
Which I should have better explained.
What has now actually been done, so please make no problem out of it.